How is everyone doing today? We hope that you're all doing well. We know that this WIP N Chat is a little bit late this week. It has been a week, you guys. You know when I say that it has been a challenge. Mostly trying to keep our air conditioner running. It's currently running, but it took our guy that comes out to keep it going 2 separate visits this week. And of course, one day it was out, it was 102 degrees. So yeah, let me just tell you, neither one of us were fit to talk to anybody on those days because, ooh, it was really rough. Okay, but it's running now, so woohoo. All right. So, we hope everybody is doing well. Thank you guys for the follow-up questions. That was really cool that you guys asked that. And we have them, and we are ready to embark upon answering them. So, let's see. First of all, we got Master Jedi's was cut off. Uh-oh, sorry Jedi Master. We're going to have to take yours up on the next one because I only got half of your comment. Sorry, girl. And my phone is recording, so I can't get in there and look at it right now. So we will add yours to next week. Apologies again. So we will start with Tansy. Hey Tansy Wolf, hope you're feeling better, girl. Say hi to the 8-legged wonder for us. She says, well, we should probably start with a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, thank you all for your nice thoughts and wishes. It turns out that Griffin does not have kennel cough. Woohoo! He actually had more of an allergic cough, so we did get cough syrup for him from the vet, and we won't tell you how much that visit costs to find out he just has a cough. But yeah, he's doing fine. Everybody's doing okay for the moment, so woohoo. Finn put himself back in brumation. I don't know, I guess he's done with summer this year too, like me, I don't know. But anyway, also, don't forget you guys, September's event is coming up. So if you have not gotten your canvas for that event that I'm hosting in September for DP with Friends, a change of seasons. Any canvas depicting an obvious season qualifies. So whatever you have, no, it does not have to be licensed artwork. It can be any canvas that you have that you want to use. So be thinking of that. That will run from September 1st to September 30th. So choose accordingly, and we will enjoy it. There's going to be giveaways at least weekly, maybe twice a week. It depends on how many people show up. So we'll see, okay? If anybody is interested right now, for July, Crafty Chef Diamond is doing Disney. So if you have any Disney canvas that you would like to do for the event, you can just give her a shout out in her comment, let her know you want to join. Again, that's Crafty Chef Diamond on YouTube. Then in August, Diamond Painting with Jack. Jack is doing What Was I Thinking? You know, which is any canvas where you were, either, you saw it and it was a good price, you were excited, you bought it, and now you're like, what was I thinking? I'm never going to do that canvas. Those are the ones she wants us to do so we can get them out of our stash, okay? You guys, I put it up to a vote with you guys earlier this year, and you guys have selected for me, so I'm going to be doing a pixelated mess, so we'll see if it comes out to be anything good when I'm done with it. Assuming I finish it, because we won't talk about current WIPs. Oh my God. Anyway, so that's coming up for September. Also, if any of you are going to be participating in Drills and Chills over with Diamonds and Washi, that's Katie's channel, and Anthony, Single and Placing, they are co-hosting Drills and Chills. That runs September 1st through October 31st, so you can get in contact with either of them for details. Also, Diamond Painting with Friends, the October event is Sugar Skulls or Halloween. I believe that's being hosted by Yvonne over at Shenanigans with the Bergs. And then in November, Diamond Painting with Friends, we're back with Jack. Diamond Painting with Jack. She's going to be doing her Hello Kitty event. So get your Hello Kitties canvases ready to go. If you don't have one, get you over there and get one. And then Diamond Painting with Friends takes December off. So we will see you all again in January, where I believe we're going to be doing the catch up on your WIPs. Not sure, but I think that's what's happening. You'll find out more as each host gives you updates. Okay? All right. Anything you'd like to add, Neil? And if not, you should at least say hello to our people.
God, do I really have to?
Yes, you have to.
Hi, everybody. Glad you're with us.
Yes. Thanks again for joining
I'm learning my manners from Donna.
over at Diamond Art Joy. So, alrighty then, we will begin with the questions. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay, Denise Hudson, 4723. She says, thanks again for the chat and answering the questions. It is our pleasure, Denise. Thanks for joining us. Goldie Hawn is 78. My God, you guys, can you believe that? Goldie Hawn is almost 80 years old. Holy cow. Okay, first question. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
You want me to take that first?
Absolutely. That's why there was a pause there.
Okay. Well, I've had to have been all of the above throughout my working career. After I completed my training in the Army as a military policeman, I was assigned to the confinement facility at Fort Riley, Kansas. And this was pretty much typical of anywhere I was assigned where I was working as a patrolman, as a regular MP, or as part of a guard shift, watching military prisoners. We worked a 9 and 3 rotating shift, 3 days, 3 days swings, 3 days midnights, 3 days off. And on one of those off days, you usually had to come into the unit for 1 day for training. So it took me like a year to get used to that kind of schedule. Other parts of my career, I was definitely a morning person. Have to be getting up somewhere between 3:30 and 4 a.m. to be to work by 5. So I think that's pretty much my answer.
Yeah, but you didn't answer it. If you had your druthers, which would you prefer to be, a night owl or a morning person?
Night, but not all night.
You make everything way more complicated than it needs to be. Funny thing, before I had kids, so all my childhood, my early adult years, my teenage years, I was always a night owl. I like to stay up late and sleep late whenever possible. But now, having had children, I find myself now a morning person, and I can't help it. I don't want to be, but I seem to be. I'd still rather, go to bed late and sleep late, but I end up going to bed late and getting up early, which is not fun. But that seems to be what, my body got accustomed to. I mean, 3 kids later with how many, 2 a.m. feedings, 4 a.m. feedings, 5:30 a.m. wanting to throw yourself off a cliff. I mean, eventually it just stuck. So And I had a good portion of years where I was in the workforce that I was working ridiculous hours. I spent a lot of years where I had to be at work at 6 a.m. and I got off at 2:30. So I liked a lot of things about that, but it's hard on your sleep pattern. Let me just say that. So I'm kind of a little of both. I still prefer to stay up late, but unfortunately, even when I get a chance to sleep late, I can't do it. I wish I could because I could use the extra rest, but not as much. So we probably go get in bed around 11 to 11:30, but we're rarely asleep before 12:30 in the morning. So, and then we're up by usually 7-ish, 7:30-ish. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't make for lots of rested people. We seem to perpetually have bags under our eyes, but yeah, you know, we make it work. So yeah, if I had my druthers, it would be late night, late morning, but unfortunately it's late night, early morning. And then her other question for both of us, what's your favorite way to spend your weekend?
Not grocery shopping. Going to a movie, watching a movie on TV. Anymore, you know, we enjoy diamond painting as much as we can get in. Wendy does it much more than I'm able to.
Oh yes, I absolutely make time. I try to do it every day because I think the effect it has on me, mentally, emotionally, physically, it's all positive. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
Oh, it's okay.
What else do you like to do on the weekend?
Well, I'd like to be able to get out more and maybe go and shoot a gun somewhere, but that doesn't happen. Have to travel way out in the desert to be able to do that, and that would kind of leave Wendy in a lurch a bit.
You'd have to take an Uber, so you didn't have our van out there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so I'd like to find our Kindles. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would.
For those of you that don't know, when we went to Las Vegas to take Lisa for her birthday last year, we came home and don't know what happened. I mean, they were in the van. We know we loaded them, and yet we got home and we both lost our Kindle individually, which is sort of interesting because we didn't keep them in the same place, but they're both gone. They're MIA. So I don't know what has happened to that, but ooh, do we miss them. So some point I hope we can replace them, but anyway, is that all that you wanted to say, or was there more?
No, that's it.
Okay, for me, I mean diamond painting, of course, and usually we're spending at least one of the weekend days, one of the two, doing chores for the week. So laundry, groceries, whatever cleaning we feel we need to do so we don't look like we're cave people. All of that has to happen on one of the days. Usually it's Saturday because Jared has respite staff on Saturday. So, you know, we don't have to worry about, you know, what's he doing, where is he going, who's he with. So it's usually Saturday. And then Sunday we just kind of, you know, walk around in a semi-coma most of the day. Try to get a nap in occasionally if we can. We do like to watch movies. One of our favorite things to do. And frankly, I hate summer with a passion. I don't mind the sunlight, I just don't like the heat. So as long as it's hot, I'm a recluse. I stay in the house, never to cross the threshold, because absolutely not. I don't do heat well, and so yeah, you can have my share. And so I usually stay in and, you know, play with the animals, clean the dragon's tanks, play with the dogs. I like to play, Jared and I like to play hidden object games. And so we usually have a couple of those in progress, and so we usually play a couple hours on one of those on one of the days, which is fun. It's some of our favorite together time. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Mostly we just like to rest and breathe and stay cool and not have somewhere to be or somebody come into the house in the next 5 minutes. Like, that's, to me, that's the restful part, is just not having to be on anyone's schedule. So that's pretty much it, I think. Can you think of anything else we like to do on the weekends?
No, not really.
Yeah, so, I mean, back in the day when we were younger and had more energy and less pain, I mean, we'd have people over, we'd play cards or, you know, play a board game or, you know, any of that kind of stuff, but yeah, not so much now. So, thank you for the questions, Denise, we appreciate it. Next, we have Ray. Uh-oh, we didn't get all our Rays either.
What's
Oh,
wrong with
shoot.
your printing process?
I don't know. And I opened them up too, and it closed them back up. You know the little read more?
Yeah.
So I hit read more so it would be open, but when I printed it, it closed it and then printed it. So that makes
Oh,
no sense,
gosh.
but that's what it did. Let's see. Well, we got one of them. If you were in an old Western, what job do you think you would have, or what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh, deputy, marshal, bounty hunter, something like that.
So, forever law enforcement, huh, Neil?
Pretty much.
Once an MP, always an MP.
Sure ain't gonna drive no cattle herd.
Yeah, right. I think I would probably, I'd probably own a saloon. Yeah,
Gonna be Miss Kitty.
guess so. Yeah, have a very large weapon in case I had to run some drunk old guy out or something. Yeah, I'd probably be running it. Have to have working girls and all that kind of stuff, and, you know. Yeah, can I just say I'm very thankful that that's not the era that I was born into. I'm very thankful that I'm in this one because, yeah, that whole women are only good for two things thing is not okay with me. So, it's probably good I'm in this one because, wow. So we will have to print out the rest of those, Ray, and we will add them also, gosh, to next week's, along with the rest of what Denise had to say. It's very frustrating. Probably teaches us that we need to check earlier before we do our WIP
I
N
guess
Chat.
so.
Okay, Tansy, hi Tansy, hope you're feeling better. Favorite fantasy author, favorite fantasy book, and why, Neil?
Oh, fantasy off.
Yep.
Well, I suppose you could call them fantasy, but Stephen King.
Well, he's not fantasy though, he's
Well,
horror.
I know, but I don't really read fantasy.
Okay, then answer the why part.
I really like his stories. You know, he really, you know, brings out in detail what, you know, is appearing, or, you know, what somebody's doing or thinking or whatever. And I've just always liked his books. First book of his I ever read was Salem's Lot. And I liked it so much that after, you know, I'd read it the first time, a few years later I had to find the book again to read it again. But yeah, also I liked Jules Verne. He is fantasy. You know, he wrote the Tarzan series. He also wrote a Mars series, and the Mars series was the first series of his that I read, and it's very good. It's about a soldier who, I think it was after the Civil War, was somehow teleported to Mars and ended up in adventures on Mars. And it was like 7 different books. It was very good. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay. I don't know that I really read fantasy per se. Oh, I know who your favorite is. Gary Gygax. Guy that wrote the Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh. Well, that's a game, though.
Yeah, but he wrote it. Came out of his mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would have to say, in terms of fantasy, I guess I would have to say Tolkien, because I really enjoy The Lord of the Rings and
Yeah.
The Hobbit. Those are stories I genuinely enjoy. So probably Tolkien. More recently, because I do like paranormal type stories, more recently I've very much enjoyed Deborah Harkness. She does the Discovery of Witches trilogy, and I like that a lot because it has multiple creatures in it, you know, multiple people that are hybrid people and creature type people, and it's got time travel, it's got magic and spells. I mean, it's kind of got something for everyone. I definitely, if you are into that, I think it's worth a read. So by all means, you know, you have to give it a shot because it's well done. I mean, it absolutely grabs you and brings you in, because at first you go, oh, this is going to be so hokey, but you know, it's not. It's actually very, very cool. So yes, and I know that Barnes & Noble has the books. I know that you can get it for Kindle if you have a Kindle and an Amazon account. Definitely am telling you to do it because very, very good reading. And so I think those are probably my favorites. I also like J.R. Rain, R-A-I-N. I like the Samantha Moon mysteries. She is a private detective turned vampire, kind of against her will, but she goes through a lot of changes. There are something like 33 books in the series. There's a ton of them. I think I'm on 28, or I was before I lost my Kindle. And she goes through a lot of different types of vampirism. So, and that's not the focus. Other than, obviously, she has to wear really serious sunblock during the day, which picks her kids up from school and that kind of thing. And, you know, she's obviously awake at night. So, you know, which can be a good thing if you're a private eye. It kind of just depends on, you know, what you have to do. But, yeah, it's really interesting. Here she is, a single mom. And, you know, vampire against her will. And trying to be a good private eye because she has to work because, you know, she's raising her kids by herself. So yeah, I mean, it's got all the things. There are interesting characters, interesting, you know, family that she has. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth a read for sure. And, yeah, it's called, the series, I believe it's called Moon Investigations, J.R. Rain. Really good series. So yeah, those are probably the ones, Deborah Harkness and J.R. Rain. Okay, let's see. Okay, Margie Grice, 5468. Hey Margie, how you doing? Thanks for leaving the comment. She says, great chat. If you could be any cartoon character, who would it be and why? That's the first of her questions.
Wow, any cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Only thing I can think of is Yosemite Sam.
Why would you want to be him, Neil?
I wouldn't.
Well, you have to say why, otherwise you have to think of a different one. I picture you more the Foghorn Leghorn type, but whatever.
Oh, that'd work too, I suppose.
You could be Elmer Fudd. He has a gun, unless you don't mind the lisp.
Oh, God, help me.
Just a little speech impediment.
Oh.
I think I'd like to be Jessica Rabbit, wife of Roger Rabbit, working in the Ink and Paint Club. So I can walk around going, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way. She was funny. I liked her a lot.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
I think it would also be fun to be Roadrunner.
Oh, uh-huh.
So you could constantly see Wile E. Coyote hurting himself and just laughing your way through it, but speeding down the road every time he tries to catch you and he never does. I mean, you know, it has its perks. You guys should let us know in the comments what cartoon character would you be and what's the reason. Her next question is, if you could tame and own any wild animal, what would it be?
A wolf.
Really?
I think that would be awesome.
That would be cool. Gotta say. What would you tame it, and then what would you want it to do?
Well, I'm sure it would be a great protector. You know, you could bond with the wolf. Yeah. of the wolf.
Oh, okay. For its protection value, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as a fan of Walking Dead for many years now, I have to say Shiva the tiger was pretty cool. So I would say either a tiger or a big old grizzly bear. That'd be fun. I'd like to do that. And why would be because I think for its protection value, but also because it's just cool. I mean, in a pinch, if you had a great big grizzly bear, you could ride it out of the forest for, you know, if you needed to for some reason. So yeah, probably a grizzly bear or a tiger would be fine with me. I like to have said an orca, but you're gonna have a big old tank for that. Yeah, no. Okay, I have enough trouble just cleaning the dragon's tanks. Are you kidding? All right. Thanks for the questions, Margie. Now we have diamond painting with Jack. Hey, Jack. First question, who cooks more, you or Neil? Oh, that's a really easy one because I refuse to cook ever for any reason. So that would be Neil because he's the cook in the family.
Yeah, her idea of the ideal kitchen is a refrigerator and a microwave.
Yeah, pretty much. If I can't put it in the toaster or the microwave, I'm not interested in it anyway. So I don't see why kitchens come standard. There's no need. If there was a TV show from the 60s to the 80s that you would not watch, what would it be? Jack says hers is Lawrence Welk in any Western. Sorry, Neil.
Yeah, pretty much Lawrence Welk. You know, my parents were just, over the moon with
All of
Lawrence
our parents
Welk.
were. That's the point.
God help us. Every Sunday,
Yeah, came on at 6, didn't he?
something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, yeah, that's a good one because, oh, God. I would say it's The Dating Game. I hated that stupid show. It was
Did
the
you?
dumbest thing. Yes, it was asinine. God, I couldn't stand it.
Didn't they have Jeffrey Dahmer on there once?
They did, which ought to tell you something about the show. Nobody was screened. Nobody did any background checks. I mean, it's like you're just asking for assault. It's stupid. So that would be The Dating Game because, no. And the host was an idiot too. Can't remember Chuck something. I can't remember his name, but no, thank you very much. Let's pass on that. What childhood food do you still eat today? Hers is Spam.
Well, hot dogs, but we generally don't have them because Wendy doesn't care for them too much salt.
Yeah, I have to really be in the mood for a dog. Well, and I like hot dogs, but he buys crappy, cheap hot dogs, so those are not fun to eat. Now, when you get the Costco hot dogs or the bun-length hot dogs, oh, hell yes, I'll eat that all day. So some of it is, which ones we're talking about. What do you like on your dog, Neil?
Ketchup and mustard, and usually sweet pickle relish and onion if it's available.
Well, I think for me, probably it's macaroni and cheese. We did a lot of Kraft macaroni and cheese when I was a kid, and we still do that now, although the price is ridiculous for macaroni and cheese now. But yeah, I know a lot of people make that from scratch, but I like just the old plain, take it out of the box, mix it in, a lot less milk than it says, and a lot more butter, and Yes, indeed. I'm perfectly happy with that. And I like my noodles a little underdone. I don't like them overly done and sticky. I want them nice and smooth and slippery when they're just al dente, no longer. And most people overcook them, and I don't like that either. So, but yeah, probably mac and cheese would be the one that's most typical that we had as a kid. Thank you for the questions, Jack. And go ahead and leave follow-ups, you guys. Yeah, Jedi Master, I'm sorry we didn't get the rest of your questions. So Jedi Master and Ray, yours are going to be added to next week. We will start with yours next week because we will make sure we get them all. So yes, that's all the questions we had actually printed out. So, guess you're gonna have to bring up a subject, Neil. Nothing political, though.
Okay. Well, when I enlisted in the Army, I was 19. I was working and I was having some problems at my job, and I had figured I was going to go in the military anyway, into the Army, and I wasn't in college or anything, so I didn't have a deferral for school from the draft. So I figured that they were going to get me pretty soon anyway, so I enlisted, and living in the Los Angeles area, the place where they do all the processing for new inductees for all of the services is in downtown LA. And so my mother took me down there and dropped me off. And it was a whole day of, testing, physical, all kinds of, stuff of that nature, a lot of waiting, and so it was getting to be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that, and they had all of the draftees line up in 2 or 3 rows, if I remember right. And then this Marine gunnery sergeant comes out, and he's walking down the ranks and saying you and you and you, and picking guys who were, really big guys or obviously athletic or wiry. And so he picks about 30 or 40 guys and comes back to the front of the ranks and says, "Welcome to the United States Marine Corps."
God.
And so those draftees became Marines.
Wow, against their will.
Oh yeah.
Holy smokes.
And about 4:30, that afternoon, they loaded all the Army people onto a couple of buses, and we drove 8 hours up the California coast to Monterey to Fort Ord, California. That's where I took basic training, which was a lovely 8 weeks. They got us there on a Monday evening. We got there about a little after midnight, I guess. And by the time they got our records and got us to barracks and in bed and stuff, it was probably 1:30. And they got us up at 5. But between the time we went to bed and 5 a.m., we had a guy who was on a top bunk and had an epileptic fit and fell out of the bed and cracked his head open. So they ended up rushing him to the hospital. Then the end of that week, they took us all, loaded us up into 18-wheeler open bed trucks and drove us all up to our basic training company. And we get there and all the drill sergeants are there waiting for us, and it's a big rush to get us out of the trucks, get us lined up, and do some getting acquainted, I guess you'd call it. Drill sergeants would be, walking up and down the ranks and just pulling people out at random and, tell them, you get down there, give me 20 push-ups and this and that and the next thing. And that went on for about 30 minutes. And then they got us into our platoon bays, which was just a big open room, probably 20 feet, 25 feet wide and 65 feet long, with bunk beds all down the sides and wall lockers and foot lockers and everything. And the drill sergeant that was assigned to our platoon was an airborne ranger. And in Vietnam, he had been what they called a LRP, Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol. And this guy, he had some PTSD. Didn't want anybody standing behind him. And we had him for like 2 weeks, and he got out of the Army. And then we had another drill sergeant assigned to us, and we ended up changing drill sergeants every 2 weeks because something would happen and they get reassigned for one reason or another. So we never had one drill sergeant for the whole 8 weeks that we were in training.
Is that what's supposed to happen normally?
No, not at all.
I mean, are you normally supposed to have one for the whole time?
Yes.
Whoops.
So, yeah, they ran us ragged in basic training.
Well, they were trying to get you ready in case you had to go to Vietnam, right?
Oh yeah, well,
You have to. Nobody knows the era you're talking about. You didn't tell them
what do you mean? Oh,
what year it was.
oh, this was 1969 that I enlisted.
I was 2. Cradle robber.
And so this guy that I told you about that fell out of his rack before we got to our basic training company, after 2 weeks they removed him from training, and so I finished my training, but something happened and they messed my orders up to transfer me on to military police school. So I was held there at Fort Ord for another 2 weeks while they got my orders straightened out. But 2 days afterward, this guy was back.
The one that fell out of the bunk?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
he was awaiting general discharge. And so about, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks before my training cycle ended, we got in 3 or 4 new drill sergeants to the unit, and they didn't know about this guy. And one night, one of these new drill sergeants was on charge of quarters, which means that they are the senior person there on duty after normal duty hours. And they're supposed to make sure everything is calm and quiet and secure, and take care of whatever problems or issues come up, that kind of stuff. Do security checks. So about, I don't know, 9:30 at night, this guy that I had been talking about came into the orderly room and had an epileptic fit, fell down on the floor, and
Cracked his head open again?
no,
Okay.
the sergeant got on the phone to the hospital and says, you know, we need an ambulance up here. It looks like we've got a guy here having an epileptic fit. And the medic on the other end says, is that so-and-so? And the sergeant goes over and looks at the guy's name tag, and he says, yeah. Medic says, let the MF die. He's been here too. GD many times, and hangs up the phone.
Oh, God. I'm pretty sure that's not protocol, even in the Army, but anyway.
And so the sergeant called back and finally got an ambulance there. But, oh my God.
Wow. So the guy never said, hey, I'm an epileptic and maybe don't put me on the top bunk? Like,
No,
wow.
he was, he didn't have a full deck of cards, let's put it that way.
Well, I can see that. So they figured put him in the Army, huh? That was the place to put him when he didn't have a full deck? That's scary. I know they used to do stuff like that, but Jesus.
They said the rumor was he had a pretty good rap sheet for misdemeanor stuff.
Yeah, they probably figured the Army would straighten them out. They used to do that too.
Yeah,
They used to give you a choice, jail or the military.
yeah. Well, that's my story for today.
Sorry guys, I didn't know he was going to take you all to the military with him. All right, well, I guess that means I gotta come up with a topic. Yee. Well, tell us in the comments, you guys, what kind of movies do you like? What genre? What's your favorite thing to go and see? I like a good mystery, I like a good action movie, but I like a good horror movie. Now, when I say horror movie, I mean I like the good psychological scare. I like the good, you know, who's coming around the corner kind of scare. Those are the kind I like the best. Psychological torture is my favorite. I was all about Silence of the Lambs. I ate that up. Because you want to talk about psychological torture, holy cow. You know, and I find sociopathy fascinating. I mean, I don't like it and it's scary and I wish we didn't have any, especially when you consider that the stats are that 1 in 9 people is a sociopath. Think about that next time you're in the office with 10 people or more. You're in the midst of one. But I find it interesting that they're some of the characteristics of sociopathy are also of other things. So sometimes you're not really sure for a minute or two. Yeah, I think it becomes obvious once you know what to look for, whether they are or not. But, you know, so getting back to Silence of the Lambs. So here we are with Hannibal Lecter, who is an absolute, without question, sociopath. Was he made or was he born a sociopath? That's a good question. We might never know the answer, but the end result is the same. Nobody was safe from him, right? So I find those interesting, and I like a good detective movie too, but I like horror movies, not just gory. I can handle the gore, but I would rather it be gory with a point, not just how many buckets of blood can we load onto the set at any one moment kind of thing.
You didn't like Carrie?
I didn't like that part of Carrie. There were a lot of things I liked about Carrie. The pig's blood scene at the prom really wasn't the one, but I understood they had to do it in order to set her off so she would go all crazy. You know, and they gave her a psycho mother, so that all worked out in her favor. But yeah, I'd rather, you know, and I love Stephen King. He's one of my faves too. I've been a fan of his since I was very young. But Carrie was my first book by him. I didn't get in on the Salem's Lot craze. It was after that. So, you know, and I've, you know, people have asked me, well, you know, why? Why do you like it? I don't know. I think having now looked at it retrospectively for a while, over a few decades, I think the reason is because it's a safe scare. Meaning, if you're afraid of something in the world, there's probably a reason, and you know there maybe something bad is potentially going to happen, or trying to keep it from happening, or you know, whatever the issue is. But when you're watching a movie, you can get into the movie, you can get the adrenaline rush going, you can feel the butterflies in your stomach, you can get, you know, goosebumps and all that. But it's a movie. Nothing bad's gonna happen. If you don't want to watch it or you think it's dumb, you get up, go to the bathroom or whatever. It's no big deal. Go to the snack bar. But it's a safe watch, you know. And I've had more than a few incidences in my lifetime where I was, heart-stoppingly scared. And I never want to feel that way in real life ever again. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate the occasional adrenaline rush at a movie theater. I liked, and I like the horror movies mostly that have a story, okay? Reanimator was a stupid story, but It with Pennywise, my horror husband, liked both of those, the miniseries and the movies. I like a lot of the. I really like the ones that have a legend where, something is haunted or something supposedly has a curse with it because of something that happened however many years or decades or centuries ago. And how are we going to fight it now? That kind of a thing. Like those. Yeah, I find those to be a fun thing to watch. And, I'd rather see somebody dying in a horror movie with fake reddish orange blood and, hokey scenes and bad acting than, in some kind of a movie where, you really invested in the character and now somebody's going to die. Like that to me, I don't want to be heartbroken. I want to be entertained when I see a movie. Which is another reason why I don't really care for biographies. I don't want to get into somebody's tragic life story because mine's tragic enough. Thank you. I don't need to add anybody else's stuff to my stuff. So I would rather see, somebody going to visit an ancient bed and breakfast because, it's really cool, and then they awaken a spirit and now everybody's freaking out. That to me is much more interesting and entertaining than having to hear about somebody's tragedies they had to overcome, or maybe they tried and they couldn't overcome, or whatever it is. That to me is not at all entertaining. So yeah, I like a good horror movie. But again, I like a good mystery. I like a good urban legend. I think those are interesting. I thought that the documentaries and things that Ed and Lorraine Warren did were very interesting. I mean, they were kind of the original Ghostbuster kind of people. It took a toll on them too. I mean, it wasn't without, issues for them. I mean, certainly it was, and then when it was, much worse on them too once they had a daughter, because they knew that they were around, occult things and demonic things and, things that really made it difficult for them. But, they felt like they had a deeper understanding, and it, nobody else was in line to do it, and they wanted to do it because they didn't want to keep seeing, people they felt were good people getting into trouble, getting arrested, going to jail, these kind of things. They didn't want to see that continue to happen. So they're like, well, I guess we're elected. So they sort of took on the paranormal myth busting, and if it wasn't a myth, how do we help these people? They're the people that were helping out. The Conjuring movie series is about the cases they worked. You can look them up, Ed and Lorraine Warren, Warren. And they did so many of these cases with so many what they considered to be cursed objects that they had a museum in the basement of their home. I think it's now open to the public and you can actually see it. But they are the ones, they have the original Annabelle doll encased in glass in a display case. They have the original Dybbuk box. A lot of, the original type objects that they felt carried negative energy. Which is a nice way of saying, a curse, because not everybody will buy into a curse, but most people can accept negative energy as a thing. So that makes it easier to talk about, I think. But yeah, they were very, very firm, very direct. They didn't waste time trying to convince people that didn't believe in what they were doing, but they also didn't stop doing what they were doing. Because they felt like, the best thing that you can do for the dark side is to not believe in the dark side. So, but yeah, they made a whole lifetime out of just helping people that were having, weird things happening to them. and what to do about it. And, you know, when they felt an exorcism was in order, they knew that they were going to have to get the church to sanction the exorcism, so they knew they had to have proof. So they had, you know, they had a long reach, because they were able to speak to the powers that be in the Roman Catholic Church to say, listen, here's what's happening. Here's the evidence that we recorded, what we were able to see and experience and find out. Here's the information we were able to glean about the origin of, you know, the object, the house, whatever it was. And, you know, this family, it needs help, but we need an exorcist. So they were able to get exorcisms for people that most of the time the church had already said they're not going to be a part of. But once the Warrens came in and submitted what they knew to be the proof that the Vatican was going to require, they were able to get help for families. So, you know, I think their life is fascinating. I wish they would do just a movie on just their life instead of the individual stories, because I think that would be really interesting too. And their daughter is still alive, and she, you know, has a husband and a child now, or children. So, you know, I think it would be really interesting and a nice tribute to them if we could be in on, you know, more of their journey through the paranormal, how they handled the skeptics, what they did when there was no one else to help, kind of a thing. So yeah, but I like a good legend. I like a good cursed object. I like a good, you know, you did something bad and so you were cursed. In fact, speaking of Stephen King, one of the short stories that I really like, well, it was kind of, no, it wasn't really a novella, but it kind of was. Thinner is a really good one. That goes with the gypsy curse that I thought was just very, very good. Fascinating too. I mean, it's just really, and fairly well written. I mean, the end sucks, but you know, most horror stories endings do suck. Another one, the first version of Pet Sematary. I really liked that one too, because, you know, again, you're talking about tainted land. But it's also something that, you know, a lot of towns did that, you know. The children of the town, when their beloved pets died, they had some kind of little area that was the pet cemetery. Now, out here, we didn't do that. I mean, if you had a pet that died, it went to the backyard and that got buried there. But, you know, a lot of towns have some little area that the kids could do it, so they could have a little gravesite. So yeah, I think it's fascinating to see and what people's minds can make up about, you know, ooh, how is it tainted? What happened? Is it, you know, I think in that one it was an Indian burial ground that they had disturbed, you know, which is fine because I have Native American ancestry, so I was 100% on board with that one. But yeah, it's interesting to see those kinds of things. I also am okay with a good documentary about some of those things that have come up in years past. So yeah, that's the kind of movie I like. We just recently saw Tarot, which was, you know, it was pretty good. It was decent considering it's a new take on a very old plot that comes around a lot. You do see a lot of the plots being repeated because, I don't know, lack of imagination maybe, I don't know. The ones that I think are really freaky are the ones like the Body Snatcher kind of movies where, you know, the human race is being taken over by something. I find that to be a little freaky. One, because who knows if that's a possibility. We haven't made first contact yet, but, you know, that day is coming, people. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes when it happens, right? So, yeah. Well, do you have a topic, Neil?
Not really, but we are past our hour.
All right. So that's him ringing the bell. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us for a little bit and for your questions. Don't forget to include some more questions or follow up to ones you've already asked. And again, those of you where we couldn't get your questions, we will get them. We will print them out now today and put them at the top of the stack. So we will ask them next go around, promise. But yes, go ahead and, put it in there. If you have any questions about any of the events coming on, go ahead and give me a comment or send me an email. Let me know what you're thinking or what your question is. And I will be happy to either answer you if I know the answer, or I will find out for you. Remember, don't forget my event that I'm hosting in September. Get your canvases ready. Any canvas that shows any obvious season, because it's a change of seasons event. So summer, spring, fall, winter, all fine. So yeah, any holiday that's within those seasons, I'll let you get away with. Flora and fauna, if you want to do something with a certain type of flower that only blooms in a certain time of year, fine also. So let me know when the time comes, and I'm probably going to put up the video of the prizes that are going to be available depending on if your name is picked up by the Wheel of Names. And in order to get your name on there, all you have to do is just let me know you want to join the event. And then if you could just get me a pick of whatever your canvas is. I'm only going to ask you for a starting pick. It does not have to be a new start. I would ask that you have a 30 by 30, 30 by 40 or larger section that needs to be done in order to have it qualify for the event, so it's fair to everyone. So at the beginning, what are you going to work on? And then one update halfway through the month. You do not have to have a new start, and you do not have to finish it. No problem. I just need to know you're working on it somewhere in there. And then as soon as you tell me that this is what you're planning on joining, I will put your name in to add to the wheel, and you will be eligible for prizes. So hopefully everybody has either gotten a canvas, or they're thinking about the canvas they want to work on, or they're shopping at one of the companies. You've seen a lot of companies here. We've had a ton of unboxings from lots and lots of companies. So if you're looking at budget friendlies, again, GBFKE, Coup Deals, New Craft Day, Outdoor Tide, they all have canvases that would be eligible. If you're looking for premium canvases, Diamond Art Club, Dreamer Design, Raven Diamond Art, all of those also have canvases that would qualify. Remember, you're just looking for one that depicts some kind of season, which is almost everything, you guys. I mean, if you have a canvas where it's something indoors, that might be the only time that you can't discern a season. But most of the time, I mean, either there's oak leaves falling, there's acorns, there's flowers, there's snowflakes. There's something that's going to show you that it's a season. Okay. If you just don't have anything that fits the bill and you would rather do a Halloween canvas, or if you're going to be joining Drills and Chills, which runs September 1st to October 31st, again, Diamonds and Washi and Single and Placing, Katie and Anthony are co-hosting that event. If you want to do a seasonal canvas that you would like to qualify for both events, we can probably work something out. So let me know. And then I'll be able to tell you how many names we're going to draw each week when I get a final total of how many people are joining us. And we will go from there. So, and again, I will have a video by the middle of August showing what the prizes are going to be. I will assign the premium canvases, which I think we have about 15 of, a P number, P1, P2, P3. The budget friendlies, we have probably 30 or more canvases. They will be assigned a B as in boy number, B1, B2, B5, B10, whatever it is. So when we do the Wheel of Names, the computer will spin the wheel. It will randomly select somebody. How it's going to work is that person has until the same day, so probably a Friday, the same day for the next week to get a hold of me. Now, if they don't get a hold of me to tell me, hi, wow, that's great, and here's my address, Because again, I can't send it to you if I don't have a mailing address. So if I don't have a mailing address and you win, you have to let me know. If you don't let me know by the end of the week, then I'm going to assume that you're not interested, and I will select again for that prize, for that prize slot the following week. Okay, so, and we will just keep going until we can get the prizes handed out. So, it's open to anyone that wants to join in any country. I'm aware how terrible the shipping prices are. I am fully aware of that. But if you are in England or Australia or New Zealand or wherever you are, if you win, I will get it to you. Okay? So, that is the plan, people. So be thinking about it. When I do the release of the prize video in August, I will ask at that time for you to start letting me know. You know, this is me and this is what I'm going to do. And if you want to be called something other than your nick on YouTube, you need to let me know that too, so I can make a note of who is who. So, you know, if your nick is, you know, Scrappy Love Letter and you want to be known as Bob, that's fine, but you need to let me know so I can make a note that Scrappy Love Letter equals Bob, so I know that's who we're talking about. Okay? All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We love your questions. We're looking forward to more of them. We hope everybody has an outstanding week because, you know, we adore you guys. Best subs ever, you guys. My gosh, I'm almost to 800. I can't even believe that. That just boggles my mind. To all my new subs, thank you so much for subbing in. I really appreciate it. You've had a lot of choices to look at, so I appreciate and thank you for choosing my channel. And for my long-term, never say die lifers that keep coming back, thank you, you guys. I love each and every one of you. You know that. Hugs and hugs and hugs to all of you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week this week. Do something nice for yourself. And if anybody gives you any grief, remember, you're a dragon. Act accordingly. All right? Always be a dragon. Spread your wings. Protect those you love. Have fiery passion in everything you do. Stay strong. Slay your fears. And always fly high, rise up, and soar. All right, everyone. Have a great week, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.